Hello and welcome back to my craft room. My Scrawlr box arrived yesterday, my October Scrawlr box. So it's the 27th of October today. It's not that long since we had the September one because there were hold-ups last month because of the postal strikes. So I've been really spoilt with Scrawlr boxes this month. Anyway, so I am absolutely bursting with ideas for the challenge this time. So I'm itching to get started. So let me show you what I've got in my mind and on my desk. So here's what we got as the sticker. This is the challenge, things with wings. We got a long skinny sketch pad this time. Here's the gorgeous artwork by the featured artist Erikas Chezonis or something. Sorry, I'm probably butchering that name. Here's the Scrawlr zine, which I'm so excited that not just my piece but my friend Johnny's piece as well are both in the gallery. I'm so excited about that. So we got these amazing YONO You Only Need One Marabou kind of, they're like paint pens. They talk about it as ink, but it's like a paint pen. It's acrylic. And they will work on almost any surface. So one of the things that Scrawlr have suggested is that we try using the actual box, which is funny because last month I actually did use the box. I made that Punch and Judy thing, like a little 3D thing. Oh, and we also got this Pentel black permanent marker. So the challenge is things with wings, and I have had so many ideas. Every time I've thought of some, I've written them down on here. So I think I'm not going to try and do them all in one video because it'd be too long. I've got at least 6 or 8 ideas there for things to do. And one of the things I want to do that won't fit the challenge is to try all of the different surfaces that these are supposed to work on. But I will do that in another video. And I've started collecting up some different things that I can try them out on. So today, the idea that I've got is to make like a little birdhouse, again using the box or parts of it. I'm also possibly going to use like the back of this pad, even bits cut out of the zine and things, and really use what's there, because, you know, otherwise we just end up recycling these things, don't we? Although I might actually keep this one. I'll keep this one for special. Okay, so I'll get these out of the way because the first thing I've got to do is a bit of construction. I've actually got hot glue here, so I am not, strictly speaking, I'm not sticking within the rules of the challenge because you're supposed to use what's in the box, but you know, I mean, you've got to use a pencil which isn't in the box, you know, you've got to use a rubber, I'm also going to need a knife, and I fished out of my drawer where I keep recycled bits and bobs, a couple of straws. Now I'm not going to count that as cheating because it's out the recycling. So the first thing I want to do is construct myself a kind of basic bird box, and I think I'm going to use this as the kind of to give me the size of it. Right, so let's open this out. I think in the zine what they suggest is that you open the box right out and use it as a long canvas or as, you know, a couple of squares. So I need to leave a little tab to match this so I can fold the whole thing up again. Okay, I think I've got my head around what I'm going to do now. I've used I want to get the shape of the shape of the kind of gable end of a roof. So I found a middle point here, and I ruled a line across there, and I've just used this as a template. So I've lined up the point with the middle bit, and I've just lined it up against that line that I've drawn, and just drawn around it to get myself a reasonably good point. I've used a long pair of scissors to do my trimming, which seems to have worked quite well. That off first. I'm keeping all these pieces because I might be using them in a moment. Okay, and then because the kind of grain of the kind of, you know, we've got the lines in on the inside on the inside of the board. Because they're running that way, I should be able to fold up here, hopefully. Let's fold it against a ruler to be on the safe side. So now you can see I've got the beginnings of my bird box shape, so I can hot glue them together in a minute. But before I do that, I want to just put a bit of paper under there. I want to cut a hole out and tear off the top surface of the cardboard to expose the inside. So hopefully, yeah, like that. So that I'll get that nice texture. Right, now I want to just tear away that top surface. I'm not going to bother doing it on the back because you're not going to see that anyway. Right, so I've finished stripping off the surface and I've done the sides as well, and now I'm just going to hot glue this all together, hopefully. This hot glue gun's brilliant. It should hopefully hold its heat just long enough for me to do this without having to have the wire in the way. A bit on there, a bit on there. And that's going to be the base of my roof, but then I'm going to cut some little tiles to go on it as well. And then I've got this piece here, and I'm going to make this into kind of a tray. It will just give it a good sturdy base, so it should hopefully then stand upright. So I'm going to do that, put all that together, and then when I'm ready to get to the painting bit, just really, this is all really not taking very long at all. It's lovely when something comes together in the way you pictured it. There's still plenty of time for it all to go horribly wrong though. Okay, see. Right, so I've got my house already. It's a bit of a battle getting that getting that roof glued on, but I'm thinking that by the time I add all the decorative bits and pieces, that'll cover all my blobs of glue and stuff. That bit's at the back anyway. Yeah, I think we'll be all right. So and this is the little kind of tray thing that it's going to sit in, like that. I will probably even cut out some little bits of grass or leaves or something, and a little picket fence to go around there. It might be easier to colour this bit green before I put this on, but I've also cut these little pieces here which are going to be my tiles, and then I've cut a little inch off my drinking straw, and a tiny circle of the card to match it, which I'll glue on, trim to fit, and that is going to get stuck on there as a little perch for the bird. And I've got another little scrap of the card. I've deliberately cut it so that the kind of grain is running that way, so that I can make a nice curve, and that will just finish the roof off. And I'll probably cut a little heart shape to go at the front. So I'm going to glue all of that together, and then it will be time to start painting with the pens. And then I've still got, of course, I've still got the little birds to make, otherwise it's not going to be things with wings, is it? What I've been doing is just scribbling the pen onto my glass mat, and then just dipping my finger in a bit of water and the paint and just rubbing it on that way, because I'm afraid that if I apply it directly from the pen to the card, it's gonna mess up the nib. So yeah, I didn't want to do that. So So I'm just going, I've also painted, I've cut out these fence posts out of another bit of the box, and I've just rubbed some paint into them, not paint, you know, pen into them, and I've glued that end onto the little bit of straw, trimmed it off and coloured that with a pen as well. So that's ready to go on there. So I'm just going to put some grey on the tiles now. It works quite well if you sort of scribble them on and then rub it in to get that sort of distressed look, which is what I'm after for this. Right. Kind of want to do the edges, but I don't want to mess up the nibs, so I'm not gonna do that. And now I'm just going to take a little bit of the, I think the green. Yeah. And I'm just going to put this around the edges of the window. If I don't like it, I can just go over with the white. They go over each other really well. Right, so I've got my roof on. I think I'm going to glue this all together now and put the fence on, and then I can just add all the decorative bits and bobs. While I'm waiting for that heat gun to dry up, actually, what I'm going to do is just use one of my sheets, because I did, this was the just my swatch. I'm just going to make myself a paper spring to put the bird on that's going to be popping out of the hole. So you might have seen me do this before, but you just cut a couple of strips, glue them together at right angles, and then keep folding them one over the other like this. And you can see it, I call them paper springs. When I was a kid, we used to call these cat staircases. I don't know why cats, because you know, you'd never get a cat small enough to walk up that. That's a staircase. Fairy staircases, that would be better, wouldn't it? Fairy steps. You can see it, it gives a bit of dimension and movement. It's just I'm just going to trim off the excess bits. And I've got my little, whoop, I got my little paper spring ready. So that will end up glued in there with the bird on it when I've done the bird, and the bird will then come popping out of the hole. So, house in there. I love glue guns, they're so quick and so strong. Look at that, see, that's standing up lovely now. And I've just got to put all of the fence posts around and this. So here we go, that's my little house all ready for its birdies. So there'll probably be one on there and one on the perch, and maybe one here just pecking at some seeds or something. This is all the pieces I've got left of the box now. Got my pens ready. I've sketched out a couple of kind of folk arty style birds. So I think one of them will go down here, one will go on the perch, and then I'm going to have one popping out attached to here. That's my plan. There may not be room for all of those. We'll see how it goes. I'm a bit worried that I'm not going to be able to get that much detail on this size of paper, but if that's the case, I'm going to have a problem with this size of paper anyway, whatever I do for the challenge. So I'm going to give it a go. I'm taking it out of the pad because I know that permanent marker will probably go through to the page underneath. Watch a bit of something on YouTube and speed through this and play a bit of music while hopefully I make some lovely folk art birds for my birdhouse. So it's quite difficult to get the small detail that I want with these nibs are quite fat. So I think what I'm going to have to do is let this completely dry, then I'm going to go back over and refine some of the lines with this black, and I might need to touch up the colours as well, and then I'm going to cut them out and put them in place on here and see how they look. I also want to do some flowers and leaves and things too. I don't want to make you sit and watch a whole lot of me colouring in, so I'll come back and show you when those are done. I wasn't all that happy with how these went, and I've been having a little bit of a battle with the pens. I feel like I'm leaving the first coat to dry before I try going over, but I'm still having a bit of a problem getting them to work smoothly over each other, so I don't know if I'm doing something daft. With the white one, I even took the nib out, because I did see on the website you could do that. I took the nib out and washed it, put it back and tried again just to see if, and that did seem to help a little bit, but I don't feel like I'm doing anything wrong with them, but I'm just struggling with them a little bit. But anyway, I got there in the end. I wasn't all that happy with these, and I couldn't make the front facing one work right. It's really difficult to get the level of detail that I wanted at this size with this size nibs, so I might save these for something else, and I did these instead. So what I'm going to do is kind of build them up this with some of the little small bits of cardboard in between with a bit of glue. So put that one on there. Just to give them a bit of dimension like that. So I'm going to build each of them up. I've got 3 birds, so I was just going for that kind of folk art sort of style. But you can see I couldn't manage to get nice tidy white lines on there because I was struggling to get it to work over the top of itself. They've got a really chalky finish, which is quite nice, but to me this is bone dry now, but the white still doesn't want to work on it very well. I'm just going to try it again. So I've cleaned this nib now, but I mean, so I tried going really slowly over them, so really gently, but it seems to be a bit better now. Sometimes you can just give them another shake and pump them a little bit and it gets them going again, a bit like with any paint pen really. Okay, right, So I'm gonna build these up with a bit of dimension and then mount them on my little bird house, and then I'll be all done. I'm going to do that and then I'll come back and show you. And I'm finally finished. There it is. I'm quite chuffed with that in the end. I made an extra little cat staircase to go on the back of this one because it wouldn't sit on its perch properly otherwise, but I quite like how it just, there's just a little bit of movement to it. These two I just built up on layers of cardboard, which of course you can't see from the front. So yeah, I can either put a hook on the back or a sticky tab or something and put it on the wall, or I could just stand it on a shelf. I was going to put some leaves and things up there, but I've decided to keep it simple. I think that's enough. That's my first challenge piece for October Scrawlr challenge, and I've got at least half a dozen other ones that I want to have a go at, but it's late. Oh, it's nearly 11 o'clock, so it's time for me to stop for the day. I hope you enjoyed that. Thanks very much for joining me, and I'll see you again really soon. Bye.